Hello folks, welcome to day 4 of the November Speed Model Material Challenge. 2 hour Speed Material Challenge. Let's call it that, because that's what it is, right? I get 2 hours, the clock below me will reset to 2 hours in a minute, and then we have to make one of the following prompts. So far we've done cookie, we've done candy, we've done fruits, which means today is grain. And I've got a thing in mind, it should be fairly straightforward. We should be able to finish it in the 2 hour window. I can't see any particular problems coming up, but there's always something, isn't there? So how about we just jump straight into it? I think that sounds like a plan. So first things first, let's reset the clock, because we can't be starting at an hour 42. What kind of cheaty peaty business is that? Boom, 2 hours on the clock. Excuse me. Also, sorry if you can hear bangs and pops and whistles and whatnot. It's bonfire night tomorrow, so there's a bunch of fireworks going on outside, and I've got the window open just a smidge, so hopefully it won't be too loud, it won't be too crazy. And hopefully you guys can all hear me and see me okay. I think everything's up and running properly, so we should be good to go. So today is grain. So I'm going to, actually I forgot to show you my reference. I normally show you my reference, don't I? Where are we? Reference. Boom. Yes, there we go. So today, day 4 is grain, and my favorite grain is rice. So I'm going to be making some form of rice. I think we're going to lean towards sticky rice, as it is my favorite of the rices. But we've also got some others here, just as a little, you know, a little bit of variance. Some of them have got quite nice up close imagery. Some of them have got even better up close imagery. I mean, look at that. How delicious does that rice look right now? And some of it's just for fun, for funsies, you know. And it's interesting to note that rice, when you look really close, just looks like little white poops. Just teeny white poops. So we're going to make a whole bunch of teeny white poops. And I've got a plan for them. You wait and see, my friend. You wait and see. So let's jump into the main. Okay, so yeah, we've got 2 hours to get this done. That's what we're going to do now. So first things first, let's make ourselves, when it decides to wake up, let's make ourselves a cheeky little shape. Because everything starts with shapes, doesn't it, folks? And just let me move my mic so I can see my keyboard. There we go. Hopefully you guys can still hear me okay. I have to move it, otherwise I can't see my keyboard, because I've got a big popper stopper in the way. I've got, I don't know if you can see, this big guy. He gets right in the way, and that's what I keep knocking as well, because he's got like a bendy black arm, and behind it is my black keyboard, my black mouse, and my black mouse mount on my black desk. So it blends in. So in the periphery I just lose it. That's why I keep whacking it, so sorry about that, folks. So anyway, how's everybody's Wednesday going? I had no idea what day it was then. I hope everyone's having a nice Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. It's time to relax, have a chill. You've almost made it. The week's almost done. You've got this. Alright, so yeah, I'm going to my eye, something in my eye. Right, so I've got a little capsule. We could just use a little capsule because they're so small, but we want to sort of taper the ends a little bit. So in order to do that, I'm going to grab a gradient. I'm going to grab this one, the double-sided. It's gradient layers, gradient linear 2. I'm going to plug that in there, and I'm going to tell it that I want that to be set to subtract. Now that's not exactly what I want, so what I'm going to do instead of that, I'm going to use a curve node to try and control what this is doing. So if we let's see, there we go, do something like that, that'll give it a little bit of a little bit of a rounder middle, and just pinch the ends a smidge if we pull this in a little bit. Let me see here. Ooh. There, something like that. We're starting to get towards a little poop shape that we like, that we just recognised as rice. See in the reference, they're just like little white poops. I'm going to keep calling them that, I'm sorry about that. Also, I figured out today how to move the chat on my software to the left side, so I can actually hopefully see chat now, because I just need to glance and go, boom, there's chat. Whereas in the past, I'm like, whoa, there's chat. So I should be a bit more on the ball today with replying to people. So sorry if I didn't before. Right, so this is a little bit harsh. It's not too bad, but we're still going to blur it just in case, because we're going to add some more deformation to it later anyway. So why start now when we can blur it out, get it a bit soft, and then deal with that later. So there's, see, just sort of smooths it out a little bit. Smooths it out a little bit. There we go. Use your words, Chris, not your noises. Okay, then from there we can take this Now, because this shape's going to be kind of distorted, we don't want to use the actual gradient from that because it'll be kind of stretched and warped a bit. In fact, let me just adjust this a little bit more. I want this to be a bit more severe. Something like that, and then we can use the original shape and scale it out a bit more. On the X, 1.2. Ooh, that's interesting, isn't it? So that's getting to a better width that we want, but obviously it's way too pinchy. 1.3. That's a fun shape. Alright, so let's go and adjust our curve so that we get the result that we want. Something like that, I think. It's just pinchier ends. Well, quite a lot of this is... See, some of them are kind of... Some of them look a bit pinchier and some of them look a bit more just sort of cut off. But see, these ones are quite pinchy. Especially that guy. Whereas some of these are more sort of just harsher. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do 2 variants. At least 2 variants. We're probably going to do 3. So we've got this. Now, like I said, I don't want to use the gradient that's on this already because it's going to be warped and affected by the deformation of this subtract thing. So instead, I'm going to use good old faithful histogram scan. You guys see me do this 100 times so far. I'm going to set that pretty much to full, and then I'm going to use a non-uniform blur on that to give it the inner gradient that we were after. See? So now, rather than this, which is kind of stronger here and weaker here, we've got this which is consistent all the way through. And we can just increase that if we want to. Whoa. Now we can increase the samples and the blades. That'll just basically increase the quality of it. There we go. See, much more uniform. So now we can take that. Let's call that grain 1. Actually, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Let me just do something. Before I do the non-uniform blur, I want to do a little extra something something. Let's get a... should we get a warp? Let's get a bit of warp action going on. Let's go for a Gaussian noise this time. Ooh, feeling fancy. Bye bye Perlin. Hello Gaussian. To be fair, I just wanted a bit of a change up. That'll just give us this kind of little knocked edges. See, it's got like this stuff going on. See if you can see in the reference there. This kind of lumpy bumpy goodness. The surface itself is kind of grainy. I think it's because of like the... Is it starch that's in the water? It gets kind of bitty and grainy. So yeah, we've got that kind of look going to it already. We'll add the slight graininess later if we want to. I don't think we'll need it, to be honest. It'll be too small. So yeah, then we're gonna put that result into the non-uniform blur. There we go. And then now we're gonna treat this as grain 1. So we're 8 minutes in and grain 1 is done. Let's do 3 grains. I'm feeling fancy. 3 grains. And then what we can do is similar to what we were trying to do yesterday. We can have like a stacked layer of tile samplers, but I've got a little something special in mind for the tile samplers today. So let's see if it works. Ooh, fancy. And now, like I said, we should be well within the time limit for doing what we're doing. But we'll have to just wait and see. Now, I'm going to duplicate this because I'm not going to use the same thing all the way through, but it just gives me a starting point. Now, I want to have this piece to be a little bit chunkier on the Y. So I could just type it in here rather than using a transform. Oh, sorry, that was my elbow. Nothing else. I've got these long sleeve PJs on because they're comfy and fluffy, and if I put it on my desk it squeaks. And I know some of you out there are going to be saying, oh, excuses, excuses. It's true, okay? Right, so I want this to be more of a squared end like we saw on these ones. See, some of these are just more sort of suddenly stopped, almost like they've been chopped as opposed to grown out like the other ones. I guess that's why some are short grain and some are long grain. The short grain seem to have more of a sudden stop to them, which is interesting. I've never looked at rice that close before. It's one of the cool things about doing this as a job is that you see things in so many different ways, just ways you never thought you'd look at stuff. Right, so if we just take that down a bit, actually I like the way that was working. Let's use the curve to control this. Hey, there's a wifey behind me. Right, so move this one up. Oh, no, not that one. I'd say curves always confuse me. the way they work on the profile of the shape, and it's one of those things you just have to play about with until you've kind of get it, and sometimes it really messes with my head. Okay, so something like that. It's a bit shorter and stouter. It's not quite as pointed. And then this has gone through the same warp. So we've got this grain, which is thinner and it's got pointier ends. This one's a bit thicker and it's got a slightly harder ends. Now, I don't want too much variety because the types of rice you get would be that type of rice. So I'm not mixing like long and short grain. I'm just going for variants of each. So it shouldn't be too bad having these like this because there is difference in rice grains between each other, even if they are the same type. Okay, and the good news is the warp isn't exactly the same between these, but still, just to be safe, I'm going to change the random seed of the Gaussian blur, Gaussian noise, because that'll just help move them about a little bit. So these two aren't identical anymore. It doesn't matter. It's going to be minuscule detail, but I just like to know that it wasn't, you know, like that. And then once more, I'm going to duplicate this. Like I said, this could, like I've said in the past, this could be done in a more optimized way. But at the moment, we're going for speed, not optimization. So this isn't going to be used as like a runtime shader in an engine, nothing like that. This is purely for our entertainment purposes. Which is why you can't complain about the quality of the work either, because it's purely for entertainment. Right, let's go with our curve. Let's play with our curve from this point so that we can see. Now I want this one to be quite long. I might give this a bit of a fatter middle like that. So it's more of like a shoop shape, but not too sharp like the first one. The first one's quite extreme. And this is more like that. So I think that's just enough variety. Let's get this as like a medium height actually, because this one's thicker, isn't it? Let's change this 1.1. Okay, I like that. So we've got the skinniest piece, the medium piece, and the chunky boy. Short but stout. Actually, I'm going to change this a little bit shorter again. 1.05. Just a soupçon of shortage. There we go. Now they feel a bit more varied to me. It's only a little thing, but I like the variety. So what we're going to do, we're going to save this. Because remember, folks, save your work all the time. Like all the time. To be fair, I don't think I've ever, or maybe once, had Substance Designer crash on me. Other programs I've used crash often and pretty badly. Sometimes things crash without warning and no way of saving and no autosaves. They're the worst kind of programs. But I don't know if Designer has an autosave. I don't think it does. But like I said, it's next to never crashed for me. Right, so we are going to get a tile sampler. Boom. We're going to tell it that we want 3 patterns. Yes, you heard me correctly, sir. 3 patterns. Pattern input, 1, 2, 3. There's the fella. And then we've got 1, 2, and a 3. So you can see we've got the 3 different grains going on here. At the moment, they're just... Well, actually, no, they are set to random, so they won't just be repeating the same. But if you wanted to, you could do pattern number, and then you can see like the lines lining up, because it's going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's just doing in order, which is handy for some things, but we don't want that. You can also use a distribution map, which will it'll determine where these pieces get placed based on the black and white information. So say if random isn't being random enough for you, you could get like a Gaussian noise like we did before, and you could tell it that that is the distribution map you want to use. Let me see, distribution map. And now that is going to be controlling where they are based on that input. So if I adjust this now, it's changing what type of rice is going where based on the grayscale values. And if I change that with the levels, that should give even more extreme results, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Come on, show me. There you go. See, so now it's getting more solid chunks of certain colours because a lot of white is getting introduced. And now it's getting more solid chunks of the smaller piece because the black's getting introduced. Whereas if you introduce a whole bunch of grey, you'll start to get more of piece 2 going on. So it's quite an interesting little way of doing stuff, that. But yeah, that one pretty much just cut out all of piece 2. But if we reduce the black... Oh look, piece 2 is coming back. It's funny old world, isn't it? Yeah, so distribution maps are really handy for that kind of stuff. If you want more specific placement. It could... I'm trying to think of what you could use that for specifically. Maybe you could paint like a map. If you've got like a bake that you're doing for something, like say the frontage of a building, and you're making different types of... I'm putting myself on the spot here. You're getting like maybe different types of moss or something that you're scattering onto the front of a building fascia. You could maybe in Substance Painter, I mean, I don't know why you do this. This is just a case example, but in like Substance Painter, you could paint underneath the top windows in like a black as a mask, and the middle windows you could do like a grey as a mask, and the bottom windows you could do as a white as a mask. And then you could take this into here and set the tile sampler to the distribution map to be the thing that you baked out that you just painted, and then that way you can use this to then scatter them a bit more naturally, rather than paint them in by hand in Painter. That'd be a weird way to do it. I'm not sure why that's the first example that popped to mind, but it is. So what can you do? It's an example, isn't it? So we've got our rice in here, is the point I was trying to make. And the scale looks okay. I might go a bit smaller with that. Let's give it 20. Okay, look, that's a little more rice-like, and we'll set the scale to 1. So that's the actual size of the thing now. And we set this to random, not distribution map. Now, as you can see, the random does a really great job sometimes. But that's okay. Now, we're going to give ourselves rotation random, so that everything is all skibbly-wibbly. Real words, look it up. It's probably not a real word. I just lied to you. I apologise. Right, now with this being rice, we can sort of, we don't worry too much about intersection, because that you see that quite a lot in rice anyway. Not obviously not full intersection, but rice has got this kind of weird property to it where it almost glows. So like when things are on top of each other, you don't really see much of a shadow to it because there's a lot of light going through rice. It's quite translucent. See here, there's a lot of kind of like subsurface scattering going on, which maybe we can fake that with a bit of an emissive map later. But anyway, for now, right, we've got this one, tile sampler 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this again. And we're going to change the random seed on this so that it just generates the information in a different place. So there's that one. There's that one. And then we're going to do the same again, just down here. And we're going to adjust the random seed again. Oh, we've got to give some little scale variation. I forgot to do that. So size random, so scale random. You can't see that, can you? There you go. Scale random. We're going to adjust it. Adjust it just a smidge, because like I said, they're fairly consistent in size. So 0.27. Let's knock this one into like 0.25, something like that. 0.25. I don't normally type the zeros. I don't know why I did just then, but still. And then this one's scale random. Where's my delete key? 0.25. Okay, so they've all got a slight variation to them now. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use levels to control where they are between each other. Well, actually, I could use a height blend. Let's use a height blend for now. Okay, so we're going to set this as the bottom layer of rice. Right, this is going to be the middle layer. And then another height blend. And then this is going to be the very top layer of rice. So what we want to do is we want this to be the lowest one. So we're going to adjust the height offset so those pieces... Oh, I've got it the wrong way around. Dumph. Okay, so this is the lowest one. And then this one is then the highest one, right? Yeah. Wait, no. There we go. So in theory, we've not even stuck this in 3D yet. In theory, they should be layered up in like different heights. So we're going to go do that now. So if we look at this in our normal, and then we're going to put it in our height. Just get rid of that for a minute. And we're also going to put it in our ambient occlusion, which is going to be too strong right now, but we're going to fix that. Height scale, set it to 5. Okay, now what was I about to do? Oh yeah, I need to change this to be tessellation so that we can see a nice bit of poppage going on, you know what I'm saying? Everyone likes a nice bit of poppage in the materials. By the way, are you glad I've got a popper stopper so it doesn't pop the mic when I go pop? When people pop down the mics, it's so frustrating. Your ears are saying ow just all the time. Right, scale, let's set this to 10. That is too strong. Scale, I'm going to set to 1. Yeah, because rice grains are not very tall, are they? And then now, let me see what we're going to do now. I have a little idea in mind for what we're going to do with these. But first things first, I want the lowest layer, which is this one, I believe. Yeah, this is the lowest layer. It sounds like I'm trying to say lowest lane and can't say it right. I want this to have more pieces than the rest. Just so it's like kind of a blanket layer, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more. So at the moment the scale is set to 1 and the amount is set to 20. So if I set the amount to 25 and 25, in theory if I set the scale to 1.25, that should keep them the same size then, because it's a quarter added on. Yeah. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, that looks pretty cool. Got a bit of ice action going on. I'd like to fill the gaps a bit more, but we can do that in a minute. For now, I can just change the random position a little bit. See if we can get a slightly fuller fill. That looks pretty good. That's hit a lot of the spots actually. And yeah, the idea of this is just that it gives like the illusion of layers rather than like intersection. Now something I want to do with this today, it's a bit different to normal. I want to use a mask to control where these are. I want the mask to be the word rice. I think that might look pretty cool. So what we can do is we move all these pieces over here. Oh, got to save as well. Always save, folks. And then we're going to get a text node. I don't think I've ever used a text node in this before, so this should be interesting. Rice! Make it bold so it's a little bit chunkier. Make it bigger. We want it to be a good size, don't we? So, let's do that. Spice it up a bit. Actually, we want it to be a little bit smaller because we're actually going to blur this out as well. So we're going to use a blur HQ grayscale. Now, I've not actually been adjusting the quality of the HQ grayscale, so it doesn't really matter that I've been using that one. Because see, if I put the quality all the way up, this is the cost of it in runtime, and it almost doubles. Wait, that was 7 a minute ago. Now it keeps changing. See, anyway, yeah, it gets more expensive. So what we can do is you can set this as the mask map input, and then we can control how much of the mask is influencing where the rice is, which is a pretty cool little feature, I think. So let's put this down here. Mask map input, which is fun to say. Mask map input and mask map input. Okay. Oh no, Charlie, you goof. Used forehead on your head and then apparently touched your head and then apparently also rubbed your eye and now you've got a mentally eye. That is not useful. I highly recommend you go and rinse that with cold water and a bit of tissue or something. With the other hand, obviously, because that's gonna sting for a bit. Other than that, I don't really know what to tell you, I'm sorry. But give that a try, see if that helps. It won't be fun for a bit, I can tell you that much. Stingy. Do feel bad for you. Right, so now we've got the word rice and it's blurry and such. We can refine it in a minute, but for now let's just see the effect that it has. So I want to... Oh, actually, let's... you know what, rice is shiny. Let's add a little bit of roughness to this. Or produce a bit of roughness. just so we can see a bit of more of what's going on better. So let's add our word rice. It's the exciting bit, folks. So the background that's got more rice in it, we're going to go down here. We're going to go to mask map threshold. First of all, we're going to tell it that we're using the mask. Actually, no, it knows we use the mask map. And then we're going to just crank that up. Put that all the way up. You can see, put it all the way up, it goes off. But start to knock it back down, and oh, look at that. It's spelling rice. How cool is that? And then you can use the blur to control how much influence that has, and you can even use a levels or a histogram scan to then control how intense that is. So, hang on a second. Doesn't sting, but when opened, it's very cold and watery. Yes, I'm making the word rice out of rice. I thought it'd be a nice touch. I was thinking, how do you make rice interesting? I know, use it to spell. Alright, so let's adjust the blur. Obviously, the less blur it has, the more refined it'll be, but the less space it goes out, and the more blur you have, the more just blobby it'll be. So I figured we might have the bottom layer might be a bit blobby than the rest, and we also might make it a bit stronger. So if we use levels in this, I mean, you can use a histogram scan for this as well, but I'm just going to use levels for now, and you can just sort of make it a bit whiter, a bit more intense. And I want it this blurry because this is the underlayer, so this is the stuff that everything else is going to be sat on, so you want it to kind of spill out a little bit. Although it might make it kind of harder to read. But let's find out, shall we? It's all in here, just thinking about stuff. Fancy. It is fancy. It's fancy rice. It's not. It might not be rice pudding, but it's fancy rice, and it's going to spell the word rice. And you're all going to be excited by the fact that it's spelling the word rice in rice. If that makes any kind of sense. So I'm going to give each of these their own blur threshold so that we can try and control the spread. Much like the coronavirus, we want to control the spread. But this is just rice. Not as dangerous. Tasty. Dangerous to pigeons. Apparently you're not supposed to give uncooked rice to pigeons. It will blow them up. I don't think it actually blows them up. I think that bit is like the old wives' tale part of it. But I think it is really bad for them. So yeah. Don't use raw rice at weddings, folks. Here's the moral of that story. Okay, so this blur has been quite reduced, and we're going to put this as the mask map. And then we're going to go and control how much of the map this is using. So, mask map threshold. Oh, look at that. Already, it suddenly clicks into place. Now, we can probably add more grains. I'm going to use smaller grains, I think, so we can see the writing better. But you get the idea. It's getting there. We're getting to where we want it to be. Out of interest, what if we just turn the blur off completely for this one? Okay, so the blur actually helps. It just fills out how much of it is being used. Okay, and then we'll get another one. Different blur. I mean, it's the same amount at the moment, but it gives us control individually if we want to. So we're going to go down here. Mask map threshold. Skadoosh. See how much this is doing it. So see, we're getting in the right direction. We're far from it right now. But you can see where the idea is. The idea is there. It's there. Now I want everything to be smaller and more of it. So what we're gonna do, I think this will work. This could be problematic, but in theory this should work. I'm just gonna attempt to just double every one of these. Where they are at the moment, everything's the right scale to the right amount. So if I just double everything. Because I actually want smaller rice, so this should work. Let's give it a try. I've procrastinated long enough. So, we're currently 25. Wait, I just saved. So if this goes belly up, remind me I've just saved. 50. 50. Oh, I'm liking that. That size. Oh, that's working better. I'm liking that. Okay, sorry, this was 40. And 40. And this one's 40 and 40 also. Yes, that's looking better. You can see it says the word rice. You can see it's made out of rice. Hell, if this goes well enough, we might even be able to make a little plate or something for it to sit on. I like that so far, though. That's working okay. Now, the rice is looking, because it's so small, it looks kind of plain. We haven't really worked into it or anything yet. Not that you can work into rice, but you know what I'm saying. But what I am going to do, because I do like that. That's quite funky. I've got what I wanted, where there's like the back bit is kind of more spread out, because I wanted that to fall apart. and then the two front ones are a bit more refined. But it's not looking particularly separated, so I might adjust the height blend on these just to make them more separated. Like, more obviously not the same level, if that makes sense. Oh, forgot to put the contrast up as well. By default, it puts the contrast at 0.9. I don't like that, so there you go. Yeah, so they now look like they're sat on top of each other, which is what we want. That's the illusion we're going for. The AI might be a bit strong on it, but that's not too bad, actually. But you can see that says rice. I'm quite happy with that. That says the word rice. That's what we wanted. You never know, we might be able to get fancy with it. Do a couple of these. This is what I like. Today's is hopefully a much simpler one than yesterday's, so it should be a bit quicker. And if that is the case, like I said, we can make like a plate or a bowl or something to go underneath it. See if that works. Right, so what's the next step? The next step for me that I wanted to do was add some kind of granularity to the rice, because you can see... Well, that's kind of a blur on here. Right, the rice, it's all got this kind of like grainy look to it. It looks kind of slimy as well, but I think it's like the starch that it uses when it's cooking. It releases like starch or whatever to the water, and I think that makes it like kind of globuly, if that's a word. Or it might even just be the fact that it grows that way. I don't know. Like I said, I've never examined rice to this level before, so it's very curious. So yeah, I'm just going to add a simple fractal sum noise, I think, to that. Fractal sum base, sorry. Because I like this one, because this fractal sum base, it gives you this result, but you can actually go in and you can make it like really quite small and intense, and you can set the minimum level really high. And that way it can go like really small and really noisy. You don't want it that strong, but you know what I mean. It's just handy. It's a handy little feature to have. To get that fine. There's literally, you can see individual pixels on this. Whereas most of these masks, they're not like that. So if I use this, then I can use like levels to adjust it or blur it out a little bit. But I find it gives me a good bit of control. It's a little bit on the expensive side, but it's not too bad. Okay, so we're going to blend this. And the good news is it's such minute detail, we can use the same one on all three. This is definitely going to be too extreme for now, I think, though. We're going to multiply. Oh, I did it again. I just misclicked. Yeah, that's way too small. That is one of the downsides, but because we're not tiling this, we can just simply... Oops. I don't know what was that node? Reaction diffusion fast. I've never seen that before. That was a cool node. Look at that. Happy accidents, folks. See, if I was making coral, that would be perfect. I like that a lot. Wow, okay, I'm totally going to use that in the future. Anyway, yeah, I was looking for a transform node. I just mistyped. So what we can do is we can just scale that up. Okay. That's a bit better. And just adjust that. Actually, forgot to add sub. That actually chopped the edges a little bit as well. And then you can use the shape to mask it if you want to. Let's just see how this goes. If we use it on this one, this might be too noisy. Did it do anything? It's very subtle. I don't think anything here is getting affected by it. Right, let's do it to all three, just to quickly see what happens. Okay, you go there. You go there. And then you go there. Yeah, you go there, and then you go there. Okay, let's just see how this looks overall. Right, they've all got it on now. It looks a little odd, but it might look okay in a bit. Because we can put a very slight blur in it. This is really way too way too micro detail. But you know, there's not much you can do with rice, so let's do what we can, shall we? So I know I wanted these sort of specific, like, pixely look of this, but I'm actually going to blur it a little bit, just a smidge, just to see how we get on with it. 0.01. 0.02. Okay, just let's go to 0.1. Oh wait, what am I doing? Yeah. Okay, actually quite a bit of blur. Looks a bit better. Because you see the surface, it's got this kind of like bumpiness to it. I might actually be a little too strong on the add sub. Well, do you reckon multiply will work better? Because add sub, it kind of cuts the edges as well. Which, to be fair, we kind of want that, because if you're just doing the middle, it kind of softens the edge. Yeah, we want add sub. Add sub's okay for this. I think that looks fine. We'll get to that in a bit. Now, what can we do with this now? So we've got the word rice, made out of rice. Doesn't look overly ricey yet, so let's try and get some more warpage going on, maybe. Now, I've intentionally not got any height variation on each individual layer, because that's controlled by the height blend, so that we can have it as layers, so it does look like it's slightly piled up as opposed to being all intersecting. See, so they've got some kind of height variety to them there. So what we're going to do to put this on, folks, what do you reckon? Do you reckon we get like a little board? Let's get a box for now, something simple, and then we can adjust that into something else. But we just want to test a theory first, see if it works. So let's get a shape. You can always turn this into a plate or something. Okay, this plate can be 0.9. Actually, let's make it the right proportions now, and then we can just scale it. Something like that. Put this on top. Put this in the back. Use a levels to control where that is. I want this to be way low. We want this to be lower than the lowest level of the rice. Does that make sense? So we could actually probably use a height blend for this, but I'm not going to, so there. And then we're going to use max lighting. Oh, add work better. I think add works better in this case. Although if we use max lighting, then we can just control this to adjust it. Alright, let's bring these layers up a bit. Yeah, because we still want some sort of distance to go in the black so that we can give this like a bevel. So let's do that right now, in fact. Wait, what am I doing? I don't normally do bevel after the levels. Bevel levels. So I'm just going to give this a little bit, a little bit of a lip on it. Set it to angular. Okay, now there should be like it's sat on a little box. Like a chopping board or something, you know? That's pretty cool, I quite like that. We can just grab a translate node just to change the size of this overall, so that we don't mess anything else up. Because Quite like it. I just want it a little bit smaller. I'm going to turn the tiling off as well so we don't get it coming through on the other side. Because that's a pain in the backside when that happens. That AO might be too strong. Yeah, it is. Let's, if we adjust the radius and make it a bit tighter, but we don't really want that. We like how soft it was. Just want to adjust the scale. Also the surface size. Now, I like using real world values for this. Because I'm used to doing tileable textures that would be used in the real world. Normally, I do like a 4K texture. That'd be like a 4x4 meter thing. And then you can control the height to see how deep the crevices are and stuff. Let's just go with 1. It's rice. It's not very... It's not particularly deep, is it? So if you imagine the rice is stacked on each other, that'd be about 1 centimeter. It wouldn't, but you know, you've got to overemphasize things sometimes. Let's leave that at 2 for now. I'm not overly happy with that, but we'll leave it at 2 for now. Save again. Just remembered. Gotta save. Keep savey. Right, 1 hour 19 left, folks. 1 hour 19. Not a drill. We can probably add some more grain types to this as well, just to spice it up a bit. Right, so what else can we do to this? Let's get some colour in now, just so that we've got an idea of where we're going. Actually, let's do the roughness first. So we're going to give... actually, how are we going to separate this out? Okay, we're going to give a roughness value for... What am I doing? Uniform colour. So let's pretend this is the rice's uniform. This is the rice's roughness. This is the board's roughness. We're going to give it more detail than just a flat colour, but for now, this is fine. So the board's going to be more rough because it's. Let's say for now it's a wooden chopping board, right? It's probably going to be a ceramic plate, so it'll be shinier. But for now, let's just say it's going to be rough, so we can work on the rice. The rice is probably about that. Yeah, so like we'll add noise and stuff later. Where's my phone? Just a second, folks. I have a massage. I just got to check it in case it's important, because sometimes it's like I check it, it'll say, check your chat, something's missing. And you know what it's like sometimes. Come on, phone, please load. It takes so long. Oh, okay, it's my phone just being a pain. It's been doing this recently where it'll notify me that I've got a message, but it was a message that I've had and replied to like 6 hours ago. So yeah, it's not even like I just ignored a message, it just is a pain in the bum. Alright, so rice, the back, chopping board top. Tell it that this is the mask for this, and that this is the mask for. Wait, yeah, all the way around. Wait, no. Brain fart. Okay, full on brain fart there. Okay, so we actually want to put this on top of this. You know when your brain just turns off? Something's just gone. Okay, so yeah, board's rough. Plug that in. This is the colour of the background behind the board, which would be rougher yet again. Actually, a little bit shiny. It's like a work surface. And then on top of that, we can then work in the rice and its roughness. Which again, we're just going to use a flat colour for now. This is a funky song. Make that bit wetter so it shows up. We can grab this, pop it in there, and then I'm going to... It's quite varied at the moment because it's just taken straight from the mask information, so I'm going to use a histogram scan to refine that. So same as usual, crank this up and see we've got our mask already just from doing that, and that's got its own roughness value to it. So the rice itself is less rough. Let's give that a bit of a shinier look. There we go. And we can adjust the contrast on this to fix that edge hopefully, or just reduce the position. Yeah, Okay, now it's all kind of uniform at the moment, but that's okay, I think. Now let's see if we can really push that lower layer of rice. I feel like it's a bit too sporadic. So what we want is a bit of a thicker bottom layer and then a little bit of overspill. So the bottom layer is the one that's going to have the overspill on it. That's why it's got more of a blare here. So it's telling the rice to spread out more. So if I made this blare bigger, it would spread out even further, which could be kind of cool. But we want to just dial it in a bit. Something like that, you know, so it's like somebody's tried to spell it in rice in real life and it's kind of just trickled down because you can't really do that too easily. And what we can do is we can try and make this really dense. Because at the moment it's quite bare. But before we jump into that, shall we try colouring this? I'm a little bit worried about how we do that though, because it's 3 layers. So we could do a mask derived from each of these. And then set them so that they mask each other out. That should be okay actually. Yeah, let's give that a try. And we can use a curvature node as well to see if that helps. Helps kind of separate them. Oh yeah, normal. So these are handy for giving you like little extra bits of details that you can figure out between each thing. But first of all, let's set the colours of just the rice. We'll just flat out mask the rice out. The mask we used for this should work fine. So that's just so I can give a base flat colour. So let's give it a uniform colour of this kind of yellowy white, which I'm going to sample directly from here. We can adjust that in a minute accordingly. But for now it will do quite nicely. So there's that. And then we can go in and we can mask that out, like I was saying. So, oh, that was not words that are used in the English language, whatever I just tried to type there. Okay, so then use this mask, put it in there. Boom. Set that to that. Boom. Rice. So now I'm going to... Are we committing to this being a plate or a chopping board that it's on? What do you reckon, folks? Place your bets now. Plate, chopping board. Plate, chopping board. Whilst you're placing your bets, plate, okay. In that case, we will make the plate a nice ceramic white. Just to be different. Who chops... Yeah, nobody chops rice, but it looks fancy, doesn't it? It's like one of those artsy shots from the magazines. Alright, we'll use a uniform white for now. I'm not going to go pure white because that doesn't really exist in real life. So we're going to go like here. And don't worry, we'll get some roughness variation stuff on the plate. We'll try and make the plate a little bit fancy as well if we can. So we want to use the... We have to do this in the order that it is in the layers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the plate. Greg would not be impressed. He wouldn't, you're right. But I want this to be the first thing. So I'm going to delete that connection. So the board is underneath. And we want the board to be underneath the rice. Yeah, and then the rice is going to be on top of the plate. I keep calling it a board. Right. I'm going to adjust the height level, I think, because that seems too extreme right now. Unless, is that because I've done it this way? Let me just check. Yeah, I feel like this is too high. But there's too much distance between them. Out of interest, if I go backwards. Yes, we want to be a little bit higher than the layer behind it. We could always just lob in a dirty little levels after here as well. Just to push the white back a little bit, just to dial all of them down. That looks better. It's not so extreme now. By the way, don't worry about the waviness. That's just because of the tessellation. I don't want to set it too high because my computer will cry and then go on fire and then turn off. So yeah, we don't want to do that. Sorry, I've got hiccups now. Okay, so just double checking. We've still got all our layers. They're all separate. They're all distinctive. And then we've leveled them all down as a whole. Transformed them as a whole. Okay, we're getting somewhere, folks. We've got an hour 10 left. We're already getting okay-ish results. Ish. So, you know what? Let's work on the plate for a minute. Let's try and get a bit fancy. Let me see if I can remember how to do this. Okay, for the shape, we're going to adjust the shape. I'm going to keep that one for now. I'm just going to duplicate it so we've got a fallback if I properly balls up. In search of followers, primes, and views, come on, big follows. How about instead we just block you? Does that sound good? I like the sounds of that. Block. Block. And then delete your message. Boom. Okay, I'm learning how to do this. That reminds me, Charlie, I should make you a mod. That'd be interesting. Right, yeah, so I'm keeping this shape for so that we've got something to fall back on. So if everything goes belly up, we're sorted. How about we get a nice little gingham background as well for the actual background? Now I'm really pushing myself. Suddenly it went from an easy one to uh-oh, we're doing 3 today? Yeah, let's get a gingham backdrop. How can I do this? Let's go for a tile sampler. I've got to run with this before it runs out my head. We only need this to be in colours, so we don't need to worry too much about height information and stuff. Wait, not a tile sampler. I want to use a tile generator because the tile generator's got a really handy little feature where it can select in grids. I think I might have shown you this yesterday, I can't remember. But if you hit checker mask, it alternates, and we want that for gingham. So what we can do, nice and simple. Directional noise, 4, maybe. I don't think it's going to be 4. No. Directional noise 3. No, 2. 2's the one. Yeah, 2. And then we're going to go that way. Can I mod from your phone? Probably. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I've not done it in so long. Right, so gradient. Let's quickly grab a gingham reference. Important to have reference, even though we're just faffing about. This isn't that important, but for now we want this. So gingham. I've never typed gingham in my life. I hope that's the right word. Yeah, okay, good. Whew. Something dodgy did not come up. Okay, so gingham, there you are. Of course you're a bit different to what I was expecting. That's fine though, that's fine, we can still do this. I'm just going to do it a different way now. Different way to what I was just doing. I'm glad I got reference because it's different to what I was expecting. Okay, so close that. Close that. So instead of this, turn that off. We are going to use a tile sampler. We're going to do strips. So what we want, actually, no, you know what? We'll give the tile generator a chance. We will. I don't really use the tile generator, but I'm going to use it today because this, as well as doing the checker effect it also has vertical masks, and that's what we want. So if we set this to the Y amount to be 1, that'll give us 1 bar. Set the shape to be square, so it goes right to the edge, and then we're going to give it, whoops, square. There we go. And then we're going to give it an offset so that it's more in the middle. I think that's about right. Okay, now what we can do, this should be relatively simple. He says, famous last words. Actually, yeah, pattern input. I'm going to give that the image. So we've got that image, right? And then we can feed that into... feed this into a gradient. Wait, will that work? I want to use it for colour, so let's see. There's a tile generator colour, right? I've never used the colour one before. Yeah. Okay, we're getting fancy. We're getting there, folks. We're learning on the job sometimes. Right, so we set it to 10 and 1, image input, and then 0.5 offset. Okay. 10, 1, image input, which is the aforementioned image. There. And then we set this to the vertical mask. doom, and then we set it to offset x 0.5. I think it's 0.6 looking at it. No, 5. That'll be fine. Okay, so yeah, anyway, sorry, got distracted. So what we're going to do, we're going to use this and we're going to adjust. I'm going to pick a gradient and I'm going to grab the blues from there. So that we've got like a bluey fabric. I'm going to get rid of the dark bits because it's too strong. I don't like how strong that is. Oops. Oh, I keep clicking the wrong place. I'm starting to feel that timer, folks. It's good. I like it. The thrill of the fight. Alright. That's okay. That's okay for now. Maybe adjust it a little bit. This is going to be just a tight weave anyway that's in this pattern. So see, now we've got that. And what we can do is we can set this background colour to white. Background colour. There you are. I did not realise the background colour would completely kill the thingy. There we go. Alpha blend. Right. Get that. You know what? I don't even need that tile generator. I'm going to get this. Going to duplicate it. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And I'm not even going to use a tool within there because I'll just do it this way. It's quicker. I know it works. And that's what we want right now. Then I'm going to blend these together. I'm going to blend them using... max, no, min, no, multiply. Yeah, sorry, it's multiply. So now we've got quick and dirty gingham. It's not perfect, far from it, but you know, for now, for a 5-minute job, it will do quite nicely. This can be our table's backdrop. We actually want to set this, instead of the background colour being fully white, let's adjust that, shall we? We don't want it to be fully white. We don't like fully white. We've already established this. We don't like fully white. I'm actually going to eyedrop whatever colour the white is on this. It's kind of bluish white. There we go. So that colour is... You know what? I haven't got time to be looking for that colour specifically. It doesn't give you a hex code. Oh, okay, it does there. Come on. It's so slow tonight. Goodness. Right, straight Fs. No, that's white. This is not just white. I did not just choose just white. Wait, you still show me the sentence for the other one, you goof. Come on. Oh wait, I'm an idiot. That's colour. I wanted background. Okay, my bad. Sorry, software. I called you names. I didn't mean it. I don't always mean the names that I call my software. I do often mean it, but not always. Alright, so same again. Boof. Paste that in there. Paste that in there. There we go. And now we have our little gingham dream, which is fine. Now it's set to multiply, so that colour I've just given the background is actually a bit darker now. But we're going to ignore that. It's not that much of an issue. We're not being absolute perfectionists right now. We're just trying to get something done. And the good thing about using this tile generators to do this gingham thing is I can actually adjust the amount. Wait, why have I done 2 of these? Yeah, why have I done 2 of them? I was just doing that, wasn't I? Yeah, okay, that's even better. Sorry, I got confused. Yeah, so I can use this tile generator now. And I can control how much this tiles. See? So we can have like a more gingham. I could just use transform 2D and then it would tile anyway. But, you know, we were getting fancy. So yeah, we want this to be the background here. Behind the cutting board. So let's do that. Just like that, we're on a table, folks. We can give it a little shadow. We can... Oh, I'm excited. We can have a play about. I actually kind of like this size of the thread on that, so let's keep that as it is for now. We've got 1 hour left, folks. 1 hour, 1 minute, but we're calling it 1 hour. Why are you calling me a goof? I'm not a goof. Mean. Just because you're my wife doesn't mean I can't kick you out of the house. Alright, so just what I'm going to do things as I go along whilst I remember. So I'm going to give this a quick shadow. Just so that I don't forget to do it later. It's a bit cheaty, but we're going to do it. So I'm gonna give it its own. What am I gonna do? Actually, there's a shadow node, isn't there? I forgot about that. So if I feed this into here, yeah, I can do that. Okay, cool. I'm then going to multiply this on top of the result here. Blend. What does blend mean? Egypt. Right. That's okay. Going to give that a gradient so we can work with it. A gradient just converts things from grey to colour if you need to. Which is handy for me because I just want to multiply it on top. And see, just like that, we've got a little bit of a shadow going on. Oh, I don't like that. But still, you can't see it properly. Oh, that's because the shadow is... Yeah, I'm using the bevel, aren't I? Yeah. We'll use a histogram scan on that to really sharpen that up. I told you histogram scan is life. Oh, look, the plate's disappeared. Oh, no. What's a guy to do? Let's bring the plate back. Oh. What a plate it is, gents. And ladies. But let me finish. So now we're going to grab this. Make that the source of the shadow instead. Grab this. Grab this. What's it doing? There we go. Cheeky little bit of shadow action. Boom. It's a bit of a cheat. We're in a cheating mood, aren't we, folks? So yeah, that's we're getting there. And now what we can do, because these nodes are all being driven by a histogram scan, that means whatever changes I make to the original shape, whatever changes I make to the original shape should carry across to that. So let's whiz on through. I'm getting in a quick and hasty mode now, and I like it. I'm starting to remember things again. And this is where everything falls flat because I spoke too soon. Now, what we want to do here is I'm going to move the old shape over there. Now, I want a shape. I want to try and get a little bit fancy with this. I just can't remember how. We want to keep the current shape with the current bevel that we've... Well, not the key. Let me start again. I want to adjust the shape into a plate. I can do that with edge detect. Edge detect will allow me to give edge roundness, which I can then use that. Could I? The problem is it gives you a lot of extra stuff going on. Now I know what we can do. Old Faithful. If we use a blur, this is a cool little trick. Ow. If you use a mixture of a blur and a histogram scan, you can control the roundness of something. See, so just like that, you go from having sharp edges to rounded edges, and then you can use transform to scale it back in. Transform 2D. Scale it back in. You're going to have to... oh god, I did the Japanese thing again. You're going to have to turn off tiling mode, because you don't want it to tile. So there you go. Just like that, you got yourself a plate. It's roughly the same size as it was, give or take. Yeah. And then we can use that to go to the bevel. Actually, we want to run that through a histogram scan again. I know there's a lot of histogram scans. Actually, we can just use this one. We want it to be sharp. Add a bit more contrast. There we go. That way, when we add a bevel, there won't be loads of conflict going on. So if I add a bevel to that, see, it's a bit better now. Now, I want to try something weird on top of this. Let me see. If I grab a blend, right, just bear with me a second. If I grab a blend here, then I get a transform 2D, right? Hear me out. Let me finish. Let me finish. If I go to multiply, Mindarken. I'm going to use this, right? I'm going to shrink it down a bit. Just a bit. And I'm going to use the levels to reduce where it is on the chart. What this should do is nothing. Why are you doing nothing to me? There. Oh yeah, it's subtract. Sorry. Oh, idiot. Yeah, okay, so we can use subtract and then use inverted levels to control this little sort of middle section. And then, can we... If I put a bevel on the outside of this... Wait, do that first. Okay, if I put a bevel on the outside of this, it should give me like a little inner lip for the plate. If that makes sense. And then we can control how strong that is with the levels here. And then set this to more angular. Would that work better? I'm really curious to see how this works. So let's see. And then we're feeding that into the levels here. Hey. Right, because we set that to wood, it's quite hard, it's quite rough. So let's, now that we know it's ceramic, let's set it real shiny. Doof. There we go. See, we've got like we're getting a kind of a plate shape going on. It's kind of hard to see, but we'll fix that. And it's also kind of jagged and gross, but we'll fix that too. Because we can go to the bevel, we can smooth, get a little cheeky little bit of smoothing going on, just a little bit, because we want to keep the edge if we can. Okay, there's that, and then there's that. Right, I want to adjust the shape of this. Where's the transform? There it is. Now what we can do, which could be extra fancy, is use the curves tool on this to give us a more precise edge. You can actually use custom curve on this, but I've never done that. So we could try it now. We've only got, oh god, we've got 53 minutes. All right, maybe not try it right now. Let's just see what happens. No, let's not try it now because it needs to feed into itself. Let's just do that. I just want to do what I know. So we can give this like a custom profile, like a little tulip situation going on. That's not like an American saying tulip then. Little tulip situation. Don't make me call the police, we got a tulip situation. Somebody stole the tulips. Oh jeez. Not the tulips. Alright, sorry, I'm starting to lose it now. Okay, so we've got the edge there. Change the levels adjustment. There we go, that should give us a much harsher edge, which is good. And then we can work behind that to smooth it out a bit. So a bit of a scoop. This is really harsh, we're going to adjust that. Okay, it's a little bit better. It's not great, it's far from it, but it's a little bit better. Now we want to really try and fix this. It's really not nice. We're going to give it, it's got smooth in here, but we could use a little bit more. I'm curious if we can get like a little, yeah, like a little sharp lip going on. I thought that was going to play Believe by Cher for a second then. I was going to say I've not got that on here. It's a different playlist. Okay, a little bit of cheeky plate action going on there. Little second lip. I need to start playing with these profile stuff more often, because I've always struggled to kind of grasp it properly. Okay, I quite like that kind of softer edge, but I don't like these corners. The corners are doing my head in. So see if we can blur this a bit. What's the time, folks? 50 minutes. All right, 50 minutes. We're already making good progress, so I'm feeling goodish about this one. For 2 hours, you know, it's not a lot of time. I keep reiterating that, but it's true. Got to cover your own back somehow, haven't you? Alright, so keep an eye on that. Let's see if we can just ease that out a little bit. It's starting to affect those shapes a bit too much though. Oh, maybe the initial histogram scan that we put on it we can adjust. So it's not so jagged. Whoa. Okay, no. No. You go back where you were, mister. Back in your cave. Okay, we're going to keep that where it was. Bevel. This bevel had no smoothing either. Oh, and then we used that in here, didn't we? Okay, that explains why it was going weird. Okay. And we beveled it again. And that bevel was a bit janky, so... If we just adjust this a bit. Oh, we've set it to angular. There we go. I'm an idiot. I know we all knew this, but now you definitely know it. Okay, cool. So now we've got this going on. Got a bit of extra goodness going on there. Got a plate. It's nothing overly fancy, but it's a plate. We'll take it. Okay, now let's adjust the size of the vise. This is why I added this before, so we can just freehand it. So I can actually look at this and then adjust the vise accordingly. If I so choose, which I damn well do. There's nothing you can do about it. Okay, let's quickly, very quickly add some variation to this plate so that it breaks up the roughness on it. So this is the plate's roughness. Blend. I'm going to grab this, duplicate it. I'm going to make this slightly less shiny. And then I'm going to show you a cool little tricky that I used to use all the time. It's a really fun trick I just remembered. We grab a clouds too. Grab a directional warp node. We feed it into itself. We crank it up to like a gajillion. Let's go with 50. Gajillion's a bit strong. Let's tile it a bit more. You get this cool kind of like oil slicky marbly look when you do that. And then you can use that as a really cool roughness mask. See, so you get nice variation, but it's not super obvious. So now, so if you look at the moment, this is it's really hard to see because it's light. This side's easier to see. See, so it's like completely smooth right now. I don't know if you can see that. But if I then use this as the color input instead, you get a little bit of variance. It's not really strong, but then if I go into my levels, actually I can just adjust this. Make it a bit rougher. So you can start to see this kind of variance going on. Yeah, the scale's too small now, so bigger. That's a bit better. Do we have... There's a new node in the new version. I don't think I've got it. Let me just see a second. There's a PBR render node in the new one, which looks really nice. PBR render. Oh yeah, we do have it. Nice. We can try this and see if it'll melt my computer. It might actually crash the stream as well, but we'll try that at the end, okay? That can be our last little test. Oh, I'm getting giddy. I'm getting giddy. We're going to do it. Oh. Okay, what happens? Did it die? Are we good? Sphere. No shadows. We want a material. Okay, you know, we'll try that. Oh, I'm just giddy. I'm just getting giddy. I'm getting way ahead of myself. I don't need to do this. Why are we doing this? I don't know. But I'm doing it. You can't stop me. Why did that make a blend? Okay, height. Got this. Okay, this is not showing a damn thing. I think because there's no light in it. Environment. Exposure is set to 0. Nope, I've never used this node before in my life. So I'm just curious to see what it does. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to show something, but it might just be that it can't on my computer. I don't know. No. Oh, come on, dude. Shadows. Okay, we've spent enough time on this. I don't have time to keep going. There's a way of showing a really nice look of your material on that. Anyway, back to what we were doing. So we've added some variation to the roughness of the plate. And the rice on top has got its own roughness. Let's see, ambient occlusion. We can give the plate its own ambient occlusion, I think. So let's just duplicate this. Make sure it's just the rice plugged into that. Into this one. Just the plate plugged into this one. That way we can control them individually. So the plate would be a bit taller, so we can do that. It's a bit dirty, but we can do it. That there. Multiply that bad boy. Boom. And this should help just add a little bit of depth to that. Just check my outputs are coming through. Right, the gingham is looking okay, but let's quickly generate some height information for the gingham, so we've got like a little bit of something going on, some nodularity, whatever the word is. So let's go with. Let me see. Right, at the moment. Okay, that's the gingham's roughness. This is the rice's roughness. The rice is currently all one level of roughness, which we don't really want, but it's what we've got. It's quite shiny. We want to break that up a bit. So let's quickly... We can do what we did here. Or a similar thing, at least. So some bits that are less shiny. Or rougher is the right word. Wait, that's gingham. Move that. Okay, yeah, so the rice. Get the bits that are a little bit less rough. More rough. Rougher. God, you know I'm losing it, guys. I'm losing it. Okay, blend. It's that timer. I love the excitement of it, but it really gets to you. I've never liked timers in like video games and stuff. I usually feel like stressed and pressured, but in this case, I'm really enjoying this. So let's get some moisture noise in there, because that's the kind of noise that it is, isn't it? It's like it's being cooked. It's moist. It's yucky. Not yucky. It's delicious. You know what I mean. And that just add a bit of variation to the rice. Let's add some contrast to the mask. Whack a levels in there. Again, I could use histogram scan, but I just want to use the levels this time. And we'll make this tile a bit. Because it's affecting rice, so it's got to be really small, right? That's not going to make much visual difference, to be honest, but it'll still help us out. This is definitely missing something. What is it missing, folks? What are we missing here? I just feel like we're so close and yet so far. Let's make the shadow a bit stronger on this. Okay, oh yeah, let's give the gingham some roughness variation. That's what we were going to do as well. So the rice is there. Let's move all this over. Maybe not that much. Okay, so rice roughness. Rice roughness level. Rice mask. I can go there. Okay, gingham roughness. Let's give this a mask as well. Although, is it roughness? No, I want to give some height information. I want to give it a little bit of bump action going on. Chopsticks. That is an idea we could possibly do. Thank you. Yes. All right. Just give me a second. I want to give the gingham a little bit of noisy bump. Noisy bump. We can probably use weave. It's really, really small. Probably just actually fractal. You know what? We haven't got time. Fractal sunbase. Let's see if that works. That already looks pretty decent, but let's increase the min level. Something like that, and then we can. We need to go behind everything else, so we want it to be basically behind here. So we want the rice to blend with the board there, but we want the board to blend with this here. So okay, yeah. So we get this on there. That there. Set it to copy, mask it out with the mask that we made here. That is the same, right? Yeah, it's a bit soft, but we'll use that. Just swap them around. Invert the mask. That way we can use the slider to control that. Wait, we don't need to do that. We can use levels to control that. So we're going to reduce how much black is in that because we want it to be mostly rough. But we do want a good bit of variety in there, so something like that. And put that in there. Okay. Obviously that's way too strong right now, but we'll fix that in a second. Just let me go fix this because we use this bevel as the mask for it, and the bevel, as we've learnt before, the bevel is soft, so we need to put a histogram scan on it. You know how this works. Histogram scan should be your best friend by now. Actually, yeah, there's an exterior bevel, so we do need to do another histogram scan. We're on the 38-minute mark, folks. Don't let me forget the chopsticks. We might have time. Push that out. There we go. That could be almost right. Okay. So now, yeah, we can use the levels now to control this. We want next to no height information on this, but we want some just to give it something. There we go. Just, now it looks like it could be a fabric, you know what I mean? Like it could be a bit softer. It's quick and dirty, but we're getting somewhere nice with it, I think. I feel like I want more rice in there. I really do. We can try that in a sec. I do kind of like the separation of it right now, but let's get some chopsticks in there very quickly, see if we can do that. Oh yeah, I was going to add some curvature on top of this, wasn't I? It doesn't matter right now. That mask is off though, we need to fix that mask. The mask for the rice is here. Come on, computer, now's not the time to be slow, sir. Right, come on, just a little bit more. There we go. That's that sorted. Alright, okay, so let's get ourselves some chip to the chopsticks. Now, save before we balls everything up completely, right at the end like we did the other day. I feel like I'm missing something fundamental here, and I can't think for the life of me what it is. We've got some texture on the plate. It's not perfect, but it'll do. Oh, also, the roughness on the plate would be affected by the groovy bits, wouldn't it? So let's go and grab the ambient occlusion of this. Yeah, grab the ambient occlusion of that. Blend that on top of the roughness for the plate, which I believe is this one. No, that's the gingham. This is the plate. Okay, grab this. Multiply that on top. Actually, no, we want to subtract that. No, we're not. What am I doing? Yeah, multiply, but we want to invert it. Yeah, add. There you go. Yeah, okay, so I've inverted it, I've added it. So this will just give these parts more of a rough look to it, which is what we want. We don't need to worry about the bleed out on the edge because it gets masked out in the next step anyway. So grab that. This goes into the top of there, so we just adjust that to that. Did I just completely ball something? What am I not seeing here? Wait, is that the... Oh, that's the Vice's roughness. I'm an idiot. The plate... Ah, there's the plate. Okay. Right, let's go back to the plates one. Plate. There. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, you go there. There we are. Now we've got some variance going on. And now it's got some roughness variance. Not much, but let's adjust that pretty quickly. Why is that dipping into the table now? Did I... Oh, did I put a rim on it here? I did. Okay. We need to adjust that. Okay, the background... The level of the background needs to be lower overall. So what we can do, rather than mess with this one, we can add another one and do that. Or I can just adjust it differently. Half an hour, folks. Half an hour. Okay. Wait, yeah, I'm an idiot. What am I doing? Of course I need to be further back. Okay, levels. We'll grab this. So this range is okay. We can move this as a whole now. If we go to histogram, shift, I believe it is. That'll let us move it further down or further up. So if I just set this to 0, as it was, and then we can just reduce that. That should push this further backwards. There we go. But it doesn't really affect the range of... Oops, went too far. Yeah, it doesn't really affect the range of the height variance on this, which is good. It just makes the plate different. And we can also bring the plate up, which is a good way of doing it as well. Probably a better way, to be fair, but I'm in a rush. So I can't think properly, I'm in a rush. Alright, so yeah, let's move this all the way forwards as well a bit. Height range. I should probably use height blend for these, to be honest. But I'm not, so haha, what are you going to do? Even though I just typed height blend completely by accident. Okay, histogram range. Where did you go? There you are. Okay, full range and position forwards. And this is masked out, so it shouldn't be much of an issue, but let's see. No, that's wrong. Let's just get rid of that. This is okay for now, right? Yeah, we're running out of time, folks. Let's quickly add some chopsticks in just to give it a bit more life. Ow. Save. This would be fun to do like a proper deep dive on, you know, get really, really nice stuff going on. But we're just being really quick with it, so we're not getting nice details, we're getting just like old school looking 3D Vice. But that's okay. there's the final thing. So we want to add some chopsticks to the bottom of that. So let's grab a shape. That shape will be... You know, I'm going to use a square like that, and I'm going to use a transform. I could just scale it in that other tool, but I want to use this one. I just feel like it gives me a bit more control of what I want to do. Maybe not. No tiling on this. Full scale. Then scale that in. Okay, that's how you get the sharp edge. Oh, it's not sharp. I wonder why it does that. I can't remember why it does that. There is a reason. I'll fix that with a histogram scan in a sec. Oh, right now actually. Histogram scan. Put that in there. 0.99, 0.99, so it's sharp as a tack. And then we can use a skew node. Is it skew? No, I don't want skew. Trapezoid. Yeah, trapezoid, that's the fella. And we can rotate that actually. We want this to be rotated. I could just do it in this transform though, can I? Okay, so there's that. I know chopsticks aren't perfect like that, so don't at me. But that's what we're doing for now. Then I'm going to bevel that inwards. Just a little bit. So that's the angular. Give it a little bit of smoothness. Just to fight off those jaggedness, because it's on an angle, you can't really fight that much. Alright, since it's so insistent, we'll use a warp node. And I will get another shape. And the shape will be a brick. Change its size. Give it a bit of a soft edge. Oh, okay, and then that gives it a very interesting result indeed. It's not what I was intending to do, but it's interesting. Tiling off. Hey mate, you alright? We are making rice. It's rice on a plate, on a table. And we're now making chopsticks to go with it, except none of it's real, it's all just a flat thing. Wait, my gingham's gone flat again. Oh no, fix it. Fix it, Felix. Oh, it's because we reconnected that today, didn't I? What a fucking idiot. Alright, I'll fix that now. Let's blur this just a smidge. Just a little bit. This is a really dirty little hack, but we don't have time for non-dirty. Oh, actually, you know what? We can't even do that, can we? Okay, that's it for now. It's sinking into the table a little bit. We would fix that if we had more time, but we're not going to right now. Right, yeah, so rice. Looks cool, thank you. Yeah, we wrote the word rice in rice as well. I don't know if you can read that. 26 minutes, people. The cloth looks realistic, thank you. 26 minutes. So I was just trying to quickly make some chopsticks. With a bit of an adjustment. Wait, we want a directional warp. Actually, I think I want a vector warp, but still, I'm going to go with this for now. We could use a vector warp. We've got a normal map. No. So we want this, but if we use a gradient instead of this shape, then we can push it in both directions at the same time. If I use gradation... Actually, instead of a shape, sorry, yeah, like I said, use a gradient. This one. Rotate it, plug it in there, and we can control where it is. Whoa, look at that, that's interesting. That was not the plan I had in mind. Oh, wait, invert this. Sorry I've gone quiet, folks. I'm just trying to figure this out. I can't for the life of me remember how I normally pinch stuff like that. Oh, wait, slope, blur, grayscale. Plug that in there. Set this as the slope. Set this to min. There we go. We start to get a little bit of thingy going on there. It obviously looks really weird, but we can just blur that a bit. So blur. If all else fails, blur it a bit. That's my motto in life. Except it'd be the other way around, wouldn't it? Chopsticks are... No, you know, we're having fancy chopsticks with thinner handles. Because screw you guys. It's my casino. It looks a little bit like a wand. But anyway, I digress. The point is we got what we wanted. So let's move this. Let's copy it onto here. Okay, we're getting messy and it's making things complicated. We've got 23 minutes. So let's blend this onto here using add. If we click the right thing, that would really help right now. Okay. No, max lighting. No, add. Let's live dangerously. Add. Okay, and then I'm going to use the transform tool to just put it wherever I want it to be. If I click there, I can see what it's doing. It's regulation chopstick size, I believe. Just rotate that a little bit. And then we can just also get another one. Going to transform. Actually, I'm going to copy that. And then we're going to use this as add. And then we're going to use this to control this new one. You shouldn't cross your chopsticks, but you can sort of cross the ends over a little bit. And now to give it the illusion that they're kind of crossed over, what we want to do is add a gradient to this so it slopes down a little bit. I'm trying to work really quick here, so sorry if it gets a bit hectic. I want this one to turn out nice. It's heading in a nice direction. I've found out, through doing this, I've found out that 2 hours is a good spot to get things heading in the right direction, and then you can work on it properly. Because like, if you're working on like a really nice, properly detailed material, it can be like 2 days. So that's what, like 16 work hours? So 2 hours, I think we're getting okay results for 2 hours. Multiply. And see this, now this has a gradient on it, so that means that it's sloping down. So now this, instead of just being, well, let's connect it. I'll show you what I'm saying. At the moment we've got this solid shape, and then if we add the second one on it, we've got the other solid shape, but they're just crossed over. But if we add a gradient to this one, it puts it slightly underneath it. Let's adjust the gradient on this. There you go. See, it's put it underneath it now, so it looks like it's on top. Just a handy little trick. And we can do the same on this one to make it look like it's propped up on top of the other one, but the other way around. So let's quickly, very quickly do that. Duplicate you. I'm going to put you in there. I'm going to get you, and I'm going to flip you. Actually, transform. I'm going to put you there. Okay. This might be too extreme, but we can adjust it in a second. Yeah, so obviously the gradient's too strong on that. So, you know what, we're going to duplicate the gradient map so that it's got its own. We don't need this, actually. We can flip this. Cool. Invert positions. There we go. Now, we can go in here and we can just adjust this till we like what it's doing. So we don't want the colour being so close to the table that it blends in. But at the same time, I think we're doing okay with that. But I still want this to be a little bit higher. There, they kind of look like they're crossed a little bit. I know you shouldn't cross your chopsticks, but we need to add some sort of spice to the story. "19 minutes, folks. 19 earthly minutes. Okay, we're getting close. Right, all this height information is starting to blend in with the roughness information. Let's correct that. Okay, vice mask, roughness, this stuff. Okay, save before we go any further. Now we want to have like a wood. Let me quickly, let me quickly Google chopstick to get the right colour at least. Oh, excuse me, I've got hiccups. All the excitement's giving me hiccups. Okay, chopsticks. I don't want a restaurant called Chopsticks. Come on. Okay, wood. There you go. Disposable chopsticks. That's what I want. Something like this. So, copy image. Paste that bad boy there. Okay, we want that kind of beige going on. So, duper quickly. Uniform colour. Gonna go eyedropper this. And this level of beige, please. And then we're going to use the chopsticks as the mask for that. Now, I may have to do a blend of these. Yeah, I'm going to get a... I'm going to do these individually because they're going to have a little wood grain on them if I can get time. Which I'm not going to, they've got 18 minutes, but let's just do it, shall we? So yeah, this is the mask for one of them. And we're going to histogram scan that. So that's a sharper mask. Okay. There's one with colour. That's the bottom one, so we'll do that one first. And then the second one. Don't worry, we're going to adjust this in a sec, but I'm just getting everything in place so that we don't run out of time. Which we still might do, but we're okay. Right, they're the same colour, so we'll keep that. And then we'll just set the mask of the this one. Okay, and then again, histogram scan that. 99. 99, just make sure it's nice and crisp. Okay, now we don't want the roughness to be affecting that, so what we can do is we can sort that out separately in a second. Actually, let's do it now whilst we remember, otherwise we'll forget. We want... Actually, I'll do that in a minute because I want to do something that's going to affect the colour that might affect this. No, you know what? We'll do a solid colour for now, just in case we run out of time. Grayscale, we want it to be really rough. It's wood, so it's pretty rough. And then we're going to feed it the mask of these two masks blended together. So, blend, grab your output. Put you there. Grab you. Put you there. Okay, add you both together. You are now a mask, and then we put you over here, and you are now controlling the roughness of said chopsticks, and boom. Oh, that's height information. I'm an idiot. So yeah, because I give it a gradient, it's doing that. So instead of add, we can set it to max lighten. Nope. Add sub. No. Okay, add, and then we'll just give it more height. To actually lower the table. Yeah, we need to lower the table anyway, don't we? So let's do that. Let's put our levels on this. That's not the result I was expecting. Anyway, yes, like I was saying, we don't have time for that. We're going to cover that in a second. 15 minutes, folks. 15 minutes. All right. We can do this. I have faith. So it's got its own roughness now. Let's see if we can give it a little cheeky bit of wood grain. First of all, let's give it a little bit of shadow, like its uncle's got over there. Again, we're going to do this individually and in the right order. Blend. Gradient. And then multiply that. Okay, this is really cheaty stuff we're doing right now, by the way. Don't do this stuff. But we're just trying to give an illusion, okay? This is just an illusion of competence. Okay. So now we want to do the same for the second one. Another shadow node. I'm going to use the mask from the second one this time. I'm going to put that on there, put this on there. Give this a gradient. Set that to multiply. Boom. Just like that, we're starting to get some poppage. It's not perfect, but we're getting there. Now, have we got time to put a little cheeky wood grain on this? We might do. I don't know if I've got... I don't know if I can, but let's give it a try. Let's give it a quick go. So right, we've got this result here. And this isn't affected in any way other than putting it on top, is it? So, let's see, can we do this? Can we do this in time, folks? We might be able to do this. Let's give it a try. Blend. Directional noise 2. That's kind of wood grainy. Subtract. So he's got like the kind of wood grain to it. That could be good enough for us for now. Let's just see what it does. It might not work properly. Yeah, see the gradient's messing that up, so we can try and fix that. Let's see. Multiply. Okay, multiply does a better job for that. Just reduce it. See, I'd do this afterwards, but the problem is it wouldn't follow the shape of the chopstick then. And there's lots of faffing to be done to make sure that the gradient doesn't mess with this, but... Let me see if I can adjust the colour of this gradient. Okay, that's better. What colour did I use? 139. Okay, let's do the same for this one. 12 minutes, people. 12 minutes. Reduce how dark that is as well. Just so we're not fully losing the bottom there. Okay, and then we can just reduce the strength of this because it's too strong right now. But not with opacity. We want to use levels on this. We don't affect it too much because it's affecting the gradient and the crossover, and we don't want that. So we can probably fix that in the gradient itself, but we're running short on time. Oh, right, okay, so this top one. Oh yeah, we want to reduce the strength of the gradient on this one. Is this the first gradient? It's this one, isn't it? Wait, that's the wrong end. A little bit lower. Just a little bit. There we go. It's a bit strong, it's a bit noisy, but it'll do for now. Oh, I know what we can do. Old Faithful. Let's blur it just a smidge. Blur. Right, we're really getting tight for time now, folks. 9 minutes. This is the exciting conclusion of today's episode. 0.1. No, I don't think blur actually helps it much. It's more of a case of the grain itself needs adjusting. Okay, right, so we're pretty much done with that. Let me just quickly add a shadow to the rice because I feel like since we've been cheaty with the rest of it, the rice deserves a bit of love too. Shadow node. This is going to look awful, but let's just give it a go anyway, see what happens. Right. God, look at the state of that. The distance wouldn't be so strong on that because obviously it's closer to the plate. The plate's taller than... The plate's quite tall on the table, so it has a further shadow. This would have a tiny bit of shadow. Like I said, this is really cheaty stuff. It's just to give the illusion of depth to it. But I think we've pretty much got away with that with 7 minutes to spare. What do you guys think? Do you reckon that looks okay? I think we're going to add some more occlusion underneath the plate. If I can. Where is that? Here? Yeah, so there's just a direct shadow on there, but I want to see if I can get some more AO going on underneath it. Get this. And this one's super dirty and hacky, but this, again, when you're working completely flat in 2D, a lot of it's about illusions. And this isn't going to be like an actual texture for use anywhere. This is purely for an experiment, and that's what we're doing. We're experimenting. Having a giggle. Let's just reduce the strength of this. I really want to fix the height, like the height problem. I'll just quickly try something a second. We're saving that because if it balls up, we can quickly revert. We've got 5 minutes. It's just ticked over. So let's very quickly, let's make adjustments to the material. Try and make it a little bit higher. That's just making the problems worse, isn't it? Yeah, let's just leave that as it was. What was it? Oh wait, redo. Was the scale 1? I think the scale was 1. No, it wasn't. Oh no, wait, I've pressed 4. Okay, yeah, 1. Yeah, the plate is currently lower than the table. We don't want that. can we fix that quickly? Yes, we can. As Bob the Builder once said. 5 minutes though. Have I got 5 minutes to do this? Okay, can I do this with the height blend node really quickly? Okay, height bottom, U. Height top, U. Will this work? That's worked okay, I think. Problem is then we lose the height information on the actual cloth, and we want that. Okay, that works a little bit better now. So yeah, 4 minutes left. I think, folks, we can probably call it there. It looks okay. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's better than I was expecting it to be. Let's just see if we can add a bit of colour variety to the plate very quickly. Where's the plate? This is the plate. HSL. Let's just use the... We can use the mask we did for the roughness for this. Also, we made a little thing inside, didn't we, for the roughness on this? There it is. Let's multiply this on top. Do that really quickly. We're doing a lot of dirty stuff here today, folks. Filthy. Bloody filthy. Okay, adds a bit of life to it there. And then, last but certainly not least, with 3 minutes to spare, let's see if we can get another cheeky addition in here. Plug that into there. Plug this into there. Lightness down just a smidge. Let's feed in the thing we've used for its roughness down here. This mask. Just a little bit of variation. Levels, just to tighten it up a bit. So there's not much difference, but it's a little bit of difference, and that will make all the difference. So put that there. There we go. Right, folks, 1 minute left. I think we are done for today. What do you think? Do you think it looks okay? Can we check rice? Can we check grain off the list? What do you think? That was a fun one today. The gingham texture's still there a little bit. It's not quite as strong anymore, but you know, it looks alright. Yeah, I quite like that. I'd like to spend a bit longer on it. On perfect time, and my playlist just ended as well. Okay, so yeah, in the future, I would do it better. I'd have the plate being an actual height. At the moment, the plate's not higher than the rice, which doesn't make any sense at all. So the edges of the plate would be higher. I haven't got time to do that right now, but I would in the future, just so you know, just so you're aware of this, what I'm saying to be true. So I think I don't have much else to say, folks. That's it. Hopefully you like it. Done and done, exactly. So I think it's a valiant effort, if nothing else. It's a good bit of fun for a couple of hours work. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, folks. Let's go to our Just Chatting screen and let's get our tickety boo. If you guys think I deserve it, then we're gonna go boom. Grain has got a tick. So thanks a lot for watching, folks. I really appreciate you all being here. This really helps this go by a bit easier. I'm day 4. I feel like I'm starting to settle into this now. I'm really starting to enjoy it more. It's just a bit of goofy fun, isn't it? So I don't think I'm going to be streaming tomorrow because I have to record a podcast tomorrow night, and I don't think I can fit both of them in the same kind of time window. So what I'm probably going to do is I'll do prompt 5, which is pastry. I'll probably do it throughout the day when I get a chance, like at lunch and stuff, and before I start recording the podcast. So I will show you the results of that on day 6 when we tackle drawing. Day 6 being Friday. So see you all on Friday, folks. Thanks for watching, and see you all later. Bye bye.